point of like having this report presenting in the high-level political forum is not only about the report itself, but this is the process of how this report is being collected and how everybody, every stakeholders, development partners, civil societies, churches, academia, media, as well as the government is working together on reporting this implementation of SDGs. And as we all knew that this is not the responsible of the government only, but this is the responsible of all community, which is, as I already explained, that there are a lot of development partners that are working together in the implementation of SDGs. So this is the process. The government voluntarily would like to presenting our VNR this year, 2019, in high level.
Can you explain VNR?
VNR, Voluntary National Review. Voluntary National Review of the progress of implementation of SDGs.
And
SDGs is the Strategic Development Goals. Sustainable Development Goals. Sustainable Development Goals.
So this will be what has been achieved?
Yes, the progress. So we talk about the progress means that this is a long-term target. It's a progress. So you can't say that you achieve by this certain these 5 years or 4 years of implementation, because the target is up to 2030, and then you should report in the progress every 4 years. This is what the requirement in the UN high-level political forum that usually been held in New York. So this year Timor-Leste with other countries, 50 other countries, are going to present it, presenting our progress of implementation. But as already mentioned, that this is the most important point here is the process of how this report is going to be written, because this is not only the responsible of government, so it will be taking part of every actors that are working for the development in Timor-Leste. So because of the decision of voluntarily, we would presenting this in New York. This year we starting to reestablish again the working group, which is working group being established. It was back in 2015. Since government of Timor-Leste adopted this SDGs in 2015. Right away, national parliament have approved, and then also come with one resolution for the government, push the government to align as soon as possible the strategic, the sustainable development goals with our strategic Timor-Leste strategic development plan to 2030. And since that, the working group established technically to working on alignment between the target, and also indicators, global indicators need to be nationalized into the national indicators to allow measurement of the progress, each progress of implementation that the government would like to implement. So in 2016, the alignment has been done, and then it was 169 target in SDGs, only aligned to our strategic development plan 110. Why is that? We acknowledge that our strategic development plan 2030, some of the targets, some of the metas is not appear, but also some of the target and metas in strategic development goals is not relevant to our context. So there are some consideration of that. So only 110, it's been aligned with the strategic development as sustainable development goals. And for this year, because the aim of having the national review for this implementation of SDGs, the working group is established again, and then this working group fully working at this time in a short period of task force to finalize the report. So the report will be consisting of the working group discussion, consultation. So the consultation not only in the national level but also down into the municipal level, and also socialization. And at the end, by May 17, right?
Yeah.
So by May 17, 700 words of the key message of this report will be sent to New York, and then 14th of June will be the last submission of the full report that are going to be presented in the high-level political forum. So Timor-Leste have 20 minutes of presenting this. So 10 minutes for the minister to presenting the key point of the whole report, and then 5 minutes slot for video. What we would like to send a message to international community, not only the progress but also the obstacles, constraints, challenges, to call attention of international community for support. And the rest of the time, in between 20, will be the question and answer.
So this report will say how much, where Timor-Leste is with regards to development, basically.
Yes.
So it will contain numbers about income, malnourishment, healthcare, schooling, things like that.
Yes.
Environment.
Yes.
And do you already have some numbers?
Yes.
Are you ready to release them?
I think so, because it will be the process, as I mentioned, that once we have the first draft report, it will be presented to the Council of Ministers by the end of March. This is the first draft. And as I forgot to mention that we have presenting the focus of SDGs that are going to be reported in New York. It was like number 16, SDGs number 16, peace, justice, and inclusiveness will be the overarching theme, which is Timor-Leste is a pioneer of implementation of these SDGs. And also other SDGs that are going to be focused to report this year is the consistency of this roadmap. So this been approved in 2017 in the Council of Ministers, and the roadmap is saying that it's consistent with the alignment with SDPs, our Strategic Development Plan. So here we have the first implementation. The first phase of SDPs, which is in the short term, it's SDGs number 2, 4, number 9, 5, 3, and 6. And also medium term is SDP phase 2, our SDP Strategic Development Plan. This is SDGs 8, 10, 11, and 12. And then the long term one, by the end, you would like to eliminate poverty, right? So poverty, phase 3 aligned already with the poverty elimination, SDGs 7, 13, 4, and also 15. But this one and 17 and 16 is the cross-cutting, SDGs there to make sure that when you have peace, when you have justice, and when you have inclusiveness, all of these SDGs can be implemented. And with SDGs number 17, which is the partnership with the support of development partners, with multilateral international support, community, then all will be achieved the target that the country would like to achieve by 2030. But as I mentioned, for this year, we'll have SDGs number 2, which is eradicar fome, alcanzar seguranza, but it's in English, is here.
Eradicate.
Yeah, eradicate the poverty and stuff like that. So we have the number 2 is zero hunger, and then number 3, good health and well-being, and then number 4, quality education, and then number 5, gender equality, number 6, clean water and sanitation, And we have two additional SDGs that are going to be focused also for this year, which is the SDGs number 8, decent work and economic growth. I forgot to mention, the sixth one is including number 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure. And then SDGs number 17, partnership for all the goals. So as you mentioned about the data, quality education, we will talk about how many schools been built, how many beneficiaries of this student that are going to be use this school. We talk about gender equality, what is the rate at the moment, and then we talk about the clean water and sanitation. What is the how many what is that water? Yeah, access to clean water, and then have this access to hygiene, sanitation, and stuff like that. And good health and well-being also is related to the data of how many clinics been constructed and how many hospital, and then how many people use this hospital. Yeah, infrastructure as well. So this is a cross-cutting. So when you build road, means that you access to school, you access to health. Yeah, so it's all cross-cutting. But as I mentioned that the report, the data collection will be soon conducted. So at the moment we can't say anything about the data that need to be presented. But we already have the first implementation evaluation of the first implementation of our strategic development plan and the focus to the next year one. And this is not the government doing. Why I say that? We facilitate international consultant to do the evaluation, to make sure giving us the right information on what is the reality, what is the progress of the implementation of our strategic development plan. And sometimes it's a bit shock because there's a long time of investing, but there are some progress is being going on, but there are also some things that we haven't done yet, but there are also some some action that needed to be taken for the future. So we already have all this document ready, and this document technically it's already aligned with the government program, each of government program. So for example, we mentioned about what is the baseline until now, how many schools being built. So we already have the data. And then what is the next for the new government to consider? So using the baseline of the previous data that we have, it will help the new government to continue adding more action to build how many schools that needed to be built every year, or how many health clinic or facilities that need to be built. So by 2030, we achieve the goals that already put in our strategic development plan.
So in this report, 2000, August 2017, does it show like what is your baseline year?
Baseline year is 2017.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay,
baseline starting on 2011 to 2015. But for this report, we are starting with the baseline of 2017
of course.
onward.
But your first ever baseline was 2011.
Yes.
Okay. So you can in this report see where
Yes.
Timor-Leste made progress. In
Yes.
in this 2017 report, you can see what happened between 2011
To 2017 to 16.
to 16.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can see here, for example, like it says that. Can I speak in Portuguese here?
Yes.
So, pelo menos metade de todas as crianças timorenses, meninos e meninas entre 3 e os 5 anos de idade, entra matriculada e a receber uma educação pré-escolar de qualidade. And then what we have achieved is like 14.26% das crianças timorenses no intervalo entre dos 3 e aos 5 estão matriculadas. So means that 14.26%, the data that we receive, kids, female and male, are enrolled in school. So this will be for the two of you. If you need more information, if you would like to write something about it, but for the updated data, it can only be reported when the data collection that are going to be conducted soon done.
Yeah, I would be very happy to receive your data from 2011. Personally, I'm writing about nation building, so I'm very happy if I have the right numbers about healthcare, employment,
Yes.
schools, education, and that will all be
Yeah.
there.
It's all be here.
Yes,
It's
that's
all be here.
fantastic.
So this is consists of 4 different sector. So we have the sector social, social sector, economic sector, infrastructure sector, and good governance. Yeah, good governance sector. So all of this information is in here. So this is the detailed one. It's already approved in Council of Ministers and it's public, can be used. And also this one is the summary one, so it's easy for you to have.
Summary.
Yeah.
So this will be.
Yeah.
And
This one is
it's
internal.
new. Yeah, it's internal.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
yes,
can't
yes. No,
share
no, no,
this
no.
because this is an internal, but this one is the published one, and it's the right information. We are not playing around with the information in here, but the data, the updated data needed for this report then can only be published when the report is been reported in New York.
Yeah, final.
Um, talking about the education here, you are also include the, like you just said, the partners. UN also included this, helping you in this area. The UN. Is this like a UNDP or WFP or WFP?
Yes.
WHO.
Yes, I think they are sitting as a observer because they are supporting the government in terms of third party implementing some of the program that government are doing. We try to avoid duplication here to make sure that what is already put in a government program, it will be contributed by any NGOs or any development partners that would really interest to support. So all related to program of the every year program that the government aim to do. But for next year, now we're starting to do the medium-term expenditure framework, which is a 5 years plan, 5 years plan. So for 2020, it will be 2 line ministries will be a pilot project for that, the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education. But at the moment, yeah, we still based on annual plan for each implementation.
Look at these water and sanitation problems. It's a very serious problem of the country.
Yes.
If you look around in the last few months, people has to go out and collecting waters. What's your recommendation in this report?
Okay, technically, as I mentioned, that this is not only opinion of one institution. It's supposed to be the consensus of all the relevant ministries. For example, like who's responsible for performing the program of water and sanitation, and we all knew that this is the Ministry of Public Works. And then in annual plan of 2019, it's clearly saying that the program target of water and sanitation that need to be taken care of this ministry, it's there already, and then they are the right institution to respond to the question, the kind of question that you just mentioned. But we here try to make sure, especially the team is try to make sure to cover all of these, all of these challenges too. Not only the progress that government is achieving, but also the challenges that you just mentioned. That recently there are a lot of what is that? People are not accessing to the clean water, good sanitation or hygiene sanitation. This is become another challenges that will be also covered in the report. But as a UPMA, a separate institution under the Prime Minister Office, we try to make sure that all the plan that already planned by the institution like Ministry of Public Works with the target that allocated for the implementation in 2017 is supposed to be executed and then make sure that all this problem is solved. So at the moment we have developed one planning, monitoring, evaluation system we call PMAS Dalam Futuro, where all the project of water sanitation, all the project of infrastructure on buildings, schools, clinic, it will be appear with the GPS that already pinned down by each institution. So it's easy for the media, it's easy for everybody, a part of the transparency, but also the social control to make sure that, okay, you say, this ministry say that I'm going to build, clean water in 4 districts, 2 sukus every district. It will be in the map. We using the GPS in the map, which is we working together with statistic to pin down where is the problem. A statistic come up with the data, and then in the statistic, data of the statistic say that in this district, in this sukus, the problem is the water. So we are now canalize the planning right away to the original problem. You cannot duplicate it. In the past, maybe there are a lot of duplication, building this and building that, but for this year onward, it will be more structured, and then it will be more controlling.
And it will also, for instance, include Kusi.
Yes, yes, it's based on our decree law. It's also include Ukusi. So for 2019, program budgeting will apply to all institution, all the state institution. For example, President of Republic, National Parliament, so include GEMS and other institution that use in the state budget of the government, using the state budget. So
We have been around the country and we found some schools regarding to the schools or education here. We found some schools that the students up to the 6 years, a few their 5th years, they can't yet speak Tetu. And they don't know how to write and read as well.
you want to say
We
something?
have a video of that schools. And what going to be in the report?
Okay, I think for this, I think when we join the television many times, the Minister of Education already explained about the problem, the challenge that they face. But of course, in the report we will say percentage. We will not say the number, but we will say the percentage. This percentage is already uneducated, but some still we have to say some challenge. So, like Manabrisa said, that we will talk in the report also the advantage and the challenge. You cannot say that all is good, but the reality that you go to see and the problem is still there. Also, I need to say that we have the census, very good census data, because we already do 3 times census. The last census 2015. That I think you're familiar with the census Pofila Valley, the village report. Every village they have report. We have 12 indicators there, like in water sanitation, access to the education, health, and agriculture. Some data there. I think this is very important, so that, like say, that we can link data there. Every village that what they need. Because if you ask the village, they say what they need. They say that they will say that the easy one. We need to build a road, but road is not important. Maybe sanitation is very important. I think this is from also from Land Ministry, we have a very good discussion to explain to them, and on the result report of the census, we do the dissemination up to the village level, so that we explain to them what is necessary for the village. You cannot say what you need, but what is necessary for the village too. This is very important. So, but of course, like water sanitation, there is still some problem, but because 2 years ago you still use the monthly based budget, so we have difficult. But I hope that in 2019 we already have the budget, and some minister will be implement some program that they already have in the plan.
I would like to add to the point that you raised regarding the problem that we are facing with the health and sanitation, water, and the education. I think the report of Timor-Leste voluntary report that will be reviewed in a high level political forum not only review the progress that Timor-Leste has been achieved, or we also in the report we identify the challenges that the country are facing on. At the end, also the government will make a commitment how to improve the situation. I think the government program already identify the priority that government will like to do in the following 5 years based to the strategic development plan that already aligned with the SDGs objectives. So, thank you.
We have found also this malnutrition problem. We can't don't go far from Delhi. Somewhere around Delhi, for example, in this area, in Kamea, there's a family there. We found they have not access to this market because it's climbing up to the hill, and they don't really go often to the market. And if only Delhi, there's already such problem happen. What's you're finding outside the countryside, which is more remote, and people don't have access to this market, or they don't eat fish very much. But this family, the father is a fisherman, but the fish he got sell to the market, not give it to the family to cook for dinner or for lunch. So it's cost the kids has three of them got this malnourished problem. We went there and followed this case very closely. In the beginning, the government intervened, helped the family, and the kids they came to the clinic in Mekora. It's increased, but now they got it again because it's what's your record?
So I think that this is why important that consultation, the wide consultation is being done for this production of this report, because as I mentioned, it is not only in a national level, but the consultation will go down, approach all the municipal level to the rural areas to make sure all of these kind of issues is being covered. So it's not only the good things, but there are also bad things that need the government to focus attention on, and as well as we have a lot of development partners here. We have a lot of INGOs here working for the same thing. Then at the end of this report, we hope that the commitment not only from the government part, but also all the development partners also involved into helping this area. And then we acknowledge that stunting is one of the big problems that are at the moment facing by our government. And based on the data we know from different sources, 62% of our children in Timor-Leste is suffering from this stunting, malnutrition. And the government is starting already to apply a program like Merenda Escolar. This is another program that are helping the kids to have nutrition, well nutrition, that they couldn't be able to afford in their own family. But also this is not only about the government that not only the government responsibility for that, but the socialization of how mother cooks, because we have all of these food nutrition around us, but the way of cooking it, as what you just mentioned, that the father is fishing, but the fish production is for sale, but the nutrition in fish is many of that in the fish supposed to be also given to the kids, so they can have the brain, not only brain, but capture the age of capture knowledge that been in the school. So if you would like to build a strong human resource in the future, then the kids is the helping reducing the malnutrition in Timor-Leste become one of the big objectives that the government are committed to do. And what I heard, the draft that slot of 5 minutes video, maybe will rise up the stunting issue. this is what is the draft that are discussing, still discussion under the working group. So we'll see. So the government is doing the part of our responsibility, but also development partners, NGOs that are working in Timor-Leste also need to focus their target to make sure that stunting is reduced by at least 5 years time or 30 years time from now.
But did I hear you correctly? 62%
Yes,
malnourished.
yes,
That is extremely high.
extremely high.
I think you are familiar with the demographic survey data because we organized DSS 2016. The malnutrition is very. Now we still have the in-depth analysis with the Ministry of Health and the UNICEF. So what is the main problem?
Yes, I was wondering. Can you
Yeah.
explain that?
No, I think because this report, I think we need to show to you. We just go through the report and because we have a big report and also the summary. So maybe I will send to you, or maybe you can access to our website.
And has malnourishment actually increased over the years, or has it been the same?
I think
It's a
weekly
different
report, yeah.
It's different report is appear. I was just searching in the website. The report from UNICEF is saying that it's reduced. The report of World Bank still exists the same, but I think that it's better for you also to search in the what is the publication of this document to make sure the year of the publication. Sometimes some saying it was in 2015, some is not updated, so it's not reliable data. But yeah, basically what the data came is about about what about 62% of malnutrition is happening in Timor. But the problem is also not only about the food, right? The problem is also about the water and sanitation, about infrastructure. This is all contributing to the condition affected the community at the moment. So at the moment, if the water and sanitation is provided, and then people know how there are another program we call Fasiliman Hosabound. It's also helping to reduce people to get in suffer of this. So it will be cross-cutting program, one ministry to another ministry, to make sure that some of this issue can be reduced by some sort of time. But the good things is starting to with this report, we will have the clear baseline of 2019, and then for 2020 we already have the data. And then when you come back on 2020, we can say that okay, in 1 year period, we finally reduced 2 or 3% of 62 something that occurs.
And are there specific places in Timor-Leste where malnourishment is worse than in other places?
I don't really know exactly, but I think it's everywhere. Dili is a bit better, but on the other side of Dili,
I think you have some municipality, but let's go to look the data.
Yeah.
I have some, yeah. I think some municipalities very tough. So I think this is will be.
but let us wait until the report, the data collection been done. Then you will know exactly where is the district that affected a lot of this malnutrition.
You also mentioned about the good governance. What's the numbers of the good governance?
16th. The one that you are referring to is the justice, peace, and a good institution. That one is included in good government.
Good governance.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the SDG 16.
Yeah.
So under this 16 also there are the strengthening public administration.
Yeah.
Here means that you make your plan better, and then you deliver service delivery better,